Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network. Because I think a little bit went into that before he actually got the target letter. But you know what? You know who would know? Hi, what a day to have AG, Allison Gill from Murder, She Wrote, and of course the Daily Beans, and Jack, every podcast in the world. Hi, honey. Good morning.
Good morning, Mama. How are you?
I'm better and better. The more and more indictments and target letters. What because nobody breaks it down like you do. What was your initial take on the January 6th thing? First of all, why sedition and insurrection are not in there in the charges we've seen so far in the target letter? Does that concern you?
I am very skeptical of the reporting of the charges in the target letter because Rolling Stone made an error, well, kind of an error, when back to the documents case. They also said it was witness tampering when actually it was not exactly 1512. It was subsets of 1512. And they said witness tampering again. And I think they mean obstructing an official proceeding, which falls under 1512, but we know it as 1512C2. If somebody could just get me the numbers of what is being charged, the statutes, I would know a lot better. But I find 242, the one under color of law, civil rights violation under cover of law, that doesn't really apply to anything that I can think of, unless possibly the Pence pressure campaign or trying to steal our votes. But that's usually a charge that's reserved for cops who kill people, who murder people, not something like this. So I'm a little skeptical about that, and I'm going to wait to see until somebody can report out exactly what statutes are being charged here.
And what do you make of that? As far as we know, Mark Meadows and Rudy Giuliani have not gotten target letters. Is your sense they are cooperating? Of course, you can't believe anything Giuliani says. He says he's, is not cooperating. But what do you make of whether others are going down with him, including Flynn or, whoever else?
Well,
Eastman.
Eastman hasn't gotten one either, according to Eastman's attorneys, nor has Jeffrey Clark, nor has Cheesebro. This is a very common tactic. I've spoken to some people who prosecuted a lot of mafia cases. This is a common tactic where you only get the kingpin and you don't send target letters to everyone else. So all the other people think that the other ones are cooperating so that they all rush to cooperate. It's a common tactic. It's like you think about this, the six Spider-Mans facing off. That's kind of what that is. So I wouldn't read too much into it that no one else has gotten a target letter.
Well, isn't it interesting? Because there's been all kinds of critiques, of course, from, we're building bottom up from the, the boots up to the suits. But then it seems like we've skipped some suits and gone right to the top. You're right, to the kingpin, which is good. But that's the thing. I think all those shoes are going to drop. We're going to find out, right, about Mark Meadows, etc. It just seems like every defense he's trying now, right? Like, he didn't know. Didn't he just say that yesterday, Travis? That, he thought he won. It's like, no. No, there's too much testimony that you were told you didn't win, that you said you knew you didn't win, right? That you hired two companies to try to prove that you won, who told you, no, there was no fraud, right? I mean, that's...
Right. And people have testified, like Alyssa Farah Griffin have testified. He said, I can't believe I lost to Joe Biden. And at some point, you've heard Joyce Vance and Barb McQuaid and some of the former U.S. Prosecutors talk about willful blindness. There becomes a point where you can't be that stupid.
Right. I think if anyone's capable, it's Trump. But I get what you mean. Legally, he's not going to be able to claim
legally.
So, and obviously Michigan and the electors on the same day, a big BFD, as someone would say. I don't sense, certainly that's the last state. I think it's just the first state. Do you think?
Yeah, I think, and out of the blue, right? I mean, I've been telling people to watch the Michigan fraudulent electors thing, but we hadn't heard anything like we've heard from Fani Willis or anything like that. But yeah, I would watch Arizona. They're investigating thoroughly now, and potentially, I don't think Nevada and Pennsylvania, New Mexico are sort of off the hook because they had that caveat on their certificate that said we aren't the official electors unless somehow the election is overturned by the courts. But I would definitely keep my eye on Arizona, and we know what's going to what's going to go on in Georgia. What'll be interesting is if Jack Smith goes on January 6th before Georgia, if Georgia ends up only focusing on the fraudulent electors and state officials like Michigan did, and possibly Arizona, and leave the suits, the top of the coup, up to the feds, or if she'll go full bore and be like, "Hey, I'm Fani Willis. I do what I want." We'll see.
I'm Fani Willis, bitches. Maybe that's what.
She should do what she wants.
But they've all cooperated, haven't they? The fake electors there. I mean, they've all started cooperating, which is what's lengthened that a little bit. No.
Not all of them. There are a few who have refused to cooperate, that the other 8 have flipped on in their immunity deal. And yeah, that's what took imminent charges from, January 24th all the way here to August, was that she had to lock in the testimony in front of the grand jury for those cooperating, or immunized, I should say, fraudulent electors. But there are a handful left, a few left, like the ones who broke into the Coffee County to steal the voter data.
Yeah.
The head of the Republican Party, the Schaefer guy. So there are a few others down there that aren't necessarily cooperating, but that would be left to her to prosecute.
I think it's Arizona, but I feel like it's the first time in legal history that a smiley face emoticon may be part of the prosecution. Didn't someone say, maybe we shouldn't call them fake electors, smiley face emoticon? I mean, and this is what I keep saying to the media. Stop calling them alternate electors. They were not alternate. They were fake, and they knew they were fake electors, and they were defrauding the people of that state. That's really the crux of it, isn't it?
Yeah, it was the criminals who wanted to call them alternate electors. So let's use the actual correct language, which is fake or fraudulent.
Yes, it's like a bank robber saying it's an alternate withdrawal method. Right.
Oh, hey, I do that like all the time.
Okay, so today, what is it, at 10 o'clock our time, Pacific, right, 1 o'clock Eastern, this latest clown show from James Comer is, I just love them trying to say that Jack Smith's trying to distract when, prosecutors charge when they're ready or send target letters when they're ready. This thing is just, is pathetic and is going to blow up in their face again. Like we were saying, if they won't tell you who the whistleblower is, it's because they're afraid of Google, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sorry, but potential criminal prosecution of a former president of the United States is not a distraction news story. It's going to be the number one news story. And super sorry that every single one of your quote unquote whistleblowers has either been arrested, indicted, or kicked out of the FBI, or reprimanded or admonished. They're scraping the bottom of the barrel. If that's all you can find, you're right. It's just going to be a clown show, just as it has been and as it will continue to be. They've got nothing, absolutely nothing. They investigated Hunter Biden for 5 years, and last time I checked, Obama's not in Gitmo. So,
yeah. Here's James Comer on this. Here we go.
IRS whistleblowers recently provided information to Congress that confirmed many of these investigations' findings. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow, the American people will hear directly from these credible, highly respected IRS whistleblowers.
Okay.
These brave whistleblowers provided information about how the Justice Department refused to follow evidence that implicated Joe Biden, tipped off Hunter Biden's attorneys, allowed the clock to run out with respect to certain charges, and put Hunter Biden on the path to a sweetheart plea deal. Now,
this was not to be confused, this whistleblower, with the one that is missing because he's on the lam from the law because he is a arms dealer and Chinese spy. Am I getting that?
That's
I was
correct.
Gone last week. So, yeah, this is a different whistleblower.
Different guy. And I mean, come on, some law enforcement and IRS officials having an opinion about what a prosecutor, David Weiss, who was appointed by Trump and did this for 5 years, having opinions about what that prosecutor did or did not do is not new. We had multiple law enforcement and prosecutors very upset with the fact that Mueller wouldn't indict a sitting president based on an OLC memo. That doesn't mean we're going to drag them into a weaponization committee and talk about how Mueller is a fascist Marxist trying to cover up it's just the dumbest.
Yeah.
Like, I get it, Bob. You hate your IRS job. You've been there for 20 years. Things suck. Nobody likes you. Nobody invites you to the barbecue. You get cut out of the pizza time in the break room. But like, man, just because you don't agree with a seasoned prosecutorial decision about whether or not to indict someone. And David Weiss is coming out and saying, look, I never asked to be special counsel. This is all BS. Here it is. I'm telling you plain as day. I'm the guy that they're testifying about, and I'm telling you what happened. And I was appointed by Trump.
And
take it or leave it.
Right. There it is, my first drink of the day, Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic. Many of you know my story. I stopped drinking wine for 3 years during COVID, during the lockdown as part of a health reset. Now I drink wine in moderation, but this is an amazing new product. I've always believed in probiotics. And Z-Biotics, check this out. You drink just one of these. It's the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. I am using this and I feel great in the morning. I don't have to worry. If I have an extra glass of wine, I still feel great in the morning. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. I've always had acid reflux problems. It is this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Z-Biotics produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. All I know is it works. It is Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic. Go to zbiotics.com/political voices or scan the QR code on the screen right now. And most legal experts, as you know, AG saying nobody else would have been charged. If his name wasn't Biden, he wouldn't even been charged with this stuff. Paid the taxes back. Anyway, one more.
Yep.
Barney Fife, one more. Here we go.
The American people deserve to hear from these whistleblowers and other witnesses about this weaponization of the federal law enforcement power. The White House and Democrats would have Americans believe that our investigation is based on 5 years of conspiracy theory.
Yes.
These are the same people who took a fake dossier and turned it into a multi-year investigation of President Trump.
Can we point out once again that nothing in the dossier has actually been disproven? Many of the things have been proven. Anyway, let's not talk about that now, AG. What else do you anticipate from today's? The thing is, the Democrats, they're such great prosecutors on our side. They come with the facts, and they just disembowel these guys every time. And they just keep doing it again. They just go back into the rake factory, right?
Well, that's all they have. And, not to mention, they want to get their 2-second soundbite. They want to get their thing that they can put out on their campaign videos to make it look like they're fighting the deep state, to just more fodder for their very, very uninformed electorate. That's all this is and all it ever will be.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, I'm sorry to inflict this on you. Here she is.
Yeah, it's absolute bull. Yeah, that's my reaction. This is the only way that the Democrats have to beat President Trump is to arrest him, smear him, charge him with ridiculous charges, all in a cover-up of Joe Biden's crimes, Hunter Biden's crimes. It's unbelievable. It's hard to even recognize that this is our country. The American people are going to be furious. And what Jack...
No, not really. So she called Jack Smith a weak little bitch. Do you think maybe someone else is getting a target letter or has? What do you think?
I don't know. I'm not quite sure. I think she just likes the phrase little bitch. She used it against her buddy Bobes the other day. But look, this is the only way we have to beat Trump. We beat him in 2016 in the popular vote. We beat him in 2018. We beat him in 2020. And we beat him in 2022. Yeah. He was not indicted or arrested in any of those years. He is the ultimate biggest loser in the history of losery Republicans. Actually, either party, the biggest. He is an albatross around the neck of Republicans. They can't quit him.
Yep.
Because they don't want to be kicked out of the tribe. But I think eventually, for timing's sake, as we approach 2024 and we find that Republicans are tired of losing, they'll probably ditch him. They won't be the off-ramp of indictments or that he's a rapist or that he's a racist or that he, grabs people by the hoo-ha. It will be because, he's lost 900 times. Let's not go for 901. We're coming up on the election. It'll just be a timing issue. That's the only off-ramp the Republicans will ever take.
There it is, my first drink of the day, Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic. Many of you know my story. I stopped drinking wine for 3 years during COVID, during the lockdown as part of a health reset. Now I drink wine in moderation, but this is an amazing new product. I've always believed in probiotics. And Z-Biotics, check this out. You drink just one of these. It's the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. I am using this, and I feel great in the morning. I don't have to worry. If I have an extra glass of wine, I still feel great in the morning. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. I've always had acid reflux problems. It is this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Z-Biotics produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. All I know is it works. It is Z-Biotics pre-alcohol probiotic. Go to zbiotics.com/politicalvoices or scan the QR code on the screen right now.